Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is SP Jimmy, and you're here because you want to learn a little bit more about the controller archetype. Well, we are going to do just that, but before we hop into it, I want to make a quick announcement. I am going to be hosting a live stream costume contest, a little bit different than the costume contest that you've seen before. Instead of lining up under Atlas Park or something like that, I'm asking that people send me screenshots either of the in-game login or of your character out about in the city. Any screenshot will do, and I want to see the best possible costumes that you can come up with. We will be having in-game prizes, real-life prizes, one entry per email, and the winners will be announced on the stream. I'll let you guys know in a later update when the stream exactly will occur. Depends when we get enough people. Make sure that you hit that subscribe and notifications so that you are aware of all of the fun things that are going to be coming out of this channel. Now, we are going to be taking a look at the controller. Let's look at the primary and secondary power sets, maybe some good power combinations. We'll discuss which of those secondaries actually are better for controllers versus defenders or corruptors or another class that might be able to benefit from greater multipliers. We're going to talk about your role in the team and what you should be doing, and some popular builds and concepts, and looking at some builds on the Pines Hero Builder. Now, a controller is a very fun class to play. The controller is going to be able to do things and survive encounters that not every other class is able to get through. If ads are coming in, things start going sideways, you're able to take control of the situation and help out your team a lot more. You have a lot of crowd control. You do have some pets. In comparison to the mastermind, you can have some pretty strong pets, stronger in some cases. I like the picture of the fire imps coming up right there. And you can do a lot at a solo and at a low level, but a common critique of controllers, and you should know this going in, is that when you get to level 50, there's not as much for you to be doing, or we're doing damage so fast and rolling through +4 mobs so fast that your immobilizers don't really make that much of a difference. But there's ways that you can maximize your character to always be useful to your team. Now, there are a lot of different cool casts and controls and stuff, and we may look at some of those for some of these powers, but not for all of them. We'll try to get this quickly because we have a lot to get to today. Starting at the top of the list, Darkness Control is amazing, and it's actually banned in PvP. Not the full set itself, but I believe it's the Dark Grasp ability that was never, at least on Homecoming, never fixed and modified. You can hold someone for, like, what is it, 90 seconds or something ridiculous. So in zones, nobody knows that you're using it. They might be mad, but you could get away with that. You get the Umber Beast, you get Haunt, and I do want to show you guys real quick the Umber Beast because he has such a cool look to him. It's a wolf that you get, and you can even customize the color of your wolf to be something different. It looks it's like the whole reason I want to do dark eventually is to get that. Really nice. You get Haunt, 2 little ghosts come out. You get a good number of pets right with dark. I think there's some -2 hit in there as well. Earth Control is pretty cool. Earth Control it's strong in some situations, but it's not as useful right now, again, because we're moving so fast. You throw down Earthquake and we're gone. You throw down Quicksand or something, and we're like 5 packs past it by the time that it's done and it's finished up and ready to use it again, unless you get the recharge all the way up. It looks cool. I saw somebody do, because you can pick so many things for the Earth Control. You can pick so many customizations for the powers. I saw somebody do a green lantern or a yellow lantern with the crystal. See if I can replicate that here. And it looked like he was putting people up in constructs, which was really funny to see. But you get lava. It looks really nice. If you were to pair this with something, I would say pair it with Kinetics, pair it with Force Field, so we could be like, if you wanted to be like your own Circle of Thorns guy, pair it with something that's going to benefit your team, because you're not always going to be able to be super useful. It does do a lot of damage, Fossilized does, I will say that. Darkness control, same thing. And we'll talk about the secondaries more, but excuse me. Kinetics is always a good choice. Poison for dark control is a good choice as well, because you already have enough mitigation with your primary that you could take advantage of just the single target stuff here. I'll try not to mention everything in terms of PvP, but in PvE, anything would work. And we know that it's more so what you want to look at, and then you balance your secondaries based off the buffs that your primaries would get, because they don't always work together. And we'll see that more when we get to illusion control. So looking at electric control, this is one of the newer ones you can do. It has a minus endurance effect, which is nice. You get 2 gremlins for pets. So if you did like electric thermal, you could be because you would get, I think it's heat exhaustion for minus endurance. You could just drain your opponent's endurance, and there's nothing that they can do about it. And here's the gremlins. You can't really see them. They're just electric beasts. They don't really look like anything. Can I change the color of them? Yeah, they look cool. All right. For fire control, the classic was always fire kinetics. Fire is very strong because you get the fire imps. You get like 3 small imps. I think you can stack that higher. Like it tells you to type slash release pets to get rid of them. That's funny. You get hot feet because you actually do want to be in melee range when you're using this. Pair fire with kinetics, and you're one of the strongest characters in the game. It used to be the top farmer. It's still a really good farmer, and there's so many more things that we can do with kinetics now, like taking repel and speccing it instead of knock back to knock down, and doing really nice stuff there as well. Continuing down the primary powers list, gravity control is in a good spot right now. Controllers get the containment effect, which means that anytime you put your foe into a hold, or they're going to take double damage from your effects. Well, gravity takes really good advantage of that by giving you lift, propel. You get the same crushing field immobilize that anyone else would get at level 2 eventually, and you get wormhole. So what I would think would be a cool combination is if you did gravity traps and you lay down all your traps, because you can get some good macros. And I might do a video of macros later because I have a bunch of good ones. Not for traps specifically, but I do have them in general. And when you're doing the traps, you throw them all down, and then you just use wormhole and teleport them onto you. Now you could farm with that if it was a linear map. You just have to avoid ambushes. But gravity is good with time. Gravity is good with force field. Gravity poison. Gravity trick arrow would be super funny if you wanted to throw down a bunch of AoE debuffs and then wormhole them onto them, or throw them, and just always keeping people on it. There's no escape from you. And then singularity can be slotted as well for knockback to knockdown, and it becomes a very strong pet. I see so much gravity right now. Also radiation is a good secondary for gravity. Ice control is nice. It's kind of like the little brother to fire. I see people take it because it adds slow effects. You get Arctic air, which is a nice little player-based AoE protection cloud. I think that it also confuses foes, or that's something else. I'm pretty sure it confuses foes. Yeah. It's that one, or it's a different... no, that might be the ice secondary. My bad. You could go ice, ice. Ice cold domination. Arctic fog is what confuses foes. But you could have both of them on. Or you could go storm and have both of them on. That'd be a cool combination. You can make some cool characters out of that. Now, illusion's interesting, and illusion's one of the most popular choices right now, because you're going to get these... You're not going to get the group immobilized, but you are going to get some pets that are invulnerable. They're invincible. They cannot die. And if you spec correctly with enough recharge of the gambler and everything else that you need, you're going to be able to get them permanent. Those are the Phantom Army, which is what you mainly focus your spec on, Spectral Terror, and Phantasm. When your Phantom Army dies, you're vulnerable for that amount of time. Group Invisibility, you can take it. It doesn't affect your pets, but it's a clickable add to your invisibility, so if you want to do PvP, you could do that. Superior Invisibility just had a change. I want to say the endurance was reduced. because it used to be super high endurance. I don't know if they changed anything else about it, Yeah, I think it just reduced the endurance. So get it. Flash, I don't know if you need that, or if you do, get that at a later level. Really good combinations for illusion. You can do radiation emission, which is going to debuff your enemy rather than buff your pets. Now, AM, accelerate metabolism, is going to give you and whoever's around you plus recharge, which your pets don't benefit from, nor do mastermind pets benefit from that. But everything else is debuffing your enemy, which is a way of pseudo buffing your pets that you can't buff anyways. Other popular combinations are not kinetics. Don't do kinetics because you can't buff them with fulcrum shift. It's a waste. Don't do force field. Do cold domination if you want to solo AVs. You don't really get a heal, which isn't. I mean, what's this? It increases your allies' maximum hit points. So you get like one sort of hit point buff. Again, you don't need to buff your pets, so I guess, but you don't get to heal yourself unless you go into the medicine tree. I don't know, but it's good for AVs. It's one of the strongest. Cold domination is always good. Another good one for that would be, so we had rad, cold, and then, I mean, anything you want to do after that, just don't buff your pets, okay? Poison, I guess you could do if you wanted to. I think that might be a waste. One of the others would be better. Oh, storm you could do as well, because you don't need to heal anyways. Illusion storm. You could wreak havoc. Plus you're doing all that AoE damage, plus you have the most pets a controller can have. Wreck 'em. Steamy Mist adding to your invisibility, correct? Yes. Harder to see. I don't know if that makes you invisible or harder to see. Cannot use other concealment powers. Maybe that's a bad choice. Never mind. Maybe Storm Summoning is a bad choice because you can't use superior invisibility with it. Uh-oh. Never mind. Good thing we thought about it. Mind Control. Now, part of this is banned in PvP as well because you can't use telekinesis. You basically pick somebody up and push them back up against the wall, and you're not allowed to do that because there's really no way to counter it. And if you just stack that, same with Dominators, if they just stack it, there's nothing you can do and you die. But aside from that, it is really strong. Mass Confusion. Now, if you confuse a mob, you don't gain the experience that the mob gets when it dies or when it kills. I would say Mind Control, you're going to be doing something with your secondary. I don't know. I think it's better on a Dominator, honestly, because who is going to be affected by you, and then how are you dealing damage? Terrify doesn't deal. Oh, does minor damage. Total Domination doesn't deal damage. It looks like. I can't tell if it does. It looks like it doesn't. We'll have to check that. I'll get back to you. We'll check that when we check the builds. And Plant Control is really strong. If you want a good, strong, cool looking. Oops, what do I have to pick? Primary. If you want a cool, good looking primary, go for Plant Control because you get this pet up all the time. Fly Trap, I see them running around. You get the, what are the vines? Carrion Creepers? No, is that the one? No, vines. There's one with these giant lashes that come out and they're crazy looking. I think it's Carrion Creepers. They come out of dead bodies. There's no dead bodies, so we don't see it. But you bring so much attention to yourself, and everybody knows that you're there. But you could pair Plant Control with Nature Affinity as a secondary, and just go for full. If you were to do that anyways, it's a good reason to go Nature. Because you're one of the best healers in the game then, even if you're a controller. So now, moving on to the secondaries, what secondaries are better on controllers than other classes, such as defenders or others? Well, you have to consider it this way. Defenders are going to get a bigger... Oops. Defenders are going to get a increase to the amount that they heal, to the debuffs that they do. It's always going to be slightly better on them. So you have to keep that in mind and go, okay, what secondary power sets does that maybe not matter as much for? Cold domination, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're doing heat loss, you're doing benumb. Yeah, a defender's going to debuff them more, but you're doing it enough, and you're buffing your guys enough. If you have them, you're going to be fine. I would say don't even take the shields. What are you doing? You're going to buff other people for what? Resistances that they don't need? No, focus on your debuffs. Do all your cool stuff. Snowstorm. You're going to be fine. Snowstorm's always good. Doesn't matter if it's your secondary. Darkness Affinity is good on anything. It's made to be a secondary. It's fantastic on Masterminds. It's fantastic on controllers. You have one of the strongest heals in the game, granted if it hits. Soul Absorption, Black Hole if you need it. You get another pet out of Dark Servant. You get more invisibility from Shadowfall. Howling Twilight, which it is funny because it's like you have this targeted area of effect stun that also happens to resurrect anybody because you just use it all the time to stun. It's one of the best. Anything would be fine with darkness. Empathy, no. If you want to be empathy, go empathy defender because you are useful. You will be picked first in drafts and kickball. You're going to always be able to make your content doable if you're in a team. On a controller, there's other things that you should be doing, unless you want to go like Earth empathy. That might be okay, because with Earth you're kind of slow and you're doing your stuff anyways. And then do empathy and maybe be healing a little bit. That would be helpful. Force field secondary, you can if you really want to. It's better on other classes, but you do get the Force Bolt, which has one of the highest magnitude knockbacks in the game, along with Gale from the Storm Summoning. Gale hits twice, but Force Bolt's really strong. A lot of people can't resist it. Dispersion Bubble, protecting yourself. Repulsion Bomb, Force Bubble, keeping them away from you for a high endurance cost. Can be really good. Again, this would be good with Earth as well. Kinetics is good with anything. Now, the reason that Kinetics is the best with Fire is because Fire Control gets those 3 pets, and those 3 pets are all taking advantage of your Fulcrum Shift. Illusion pets are not. Singularity means if you Gravity connects, that only one of your pets is taking advantage of that. Now, you do get Siphon Speed, which is increasing your recharge for any ability that you have. Inertial Reduction, which is cool if you do big groups and like Ricty raids and stuff. You give that because not everybody has Super Jump or something. It's very helpful. But every group should have a Kinetics, and you will find a place in a group as a Kinetics no matter what. I would say that should come from controllers. It shouldn't be defenders that are going Kinetics. It maybe could be masterminds, maybe it could be corruptors. It should be controllers that are going Kinetics the most. So if you want to always have a team, the only downside is sometimes there's 2 Kinetics in a team, and then you feel kind of useless. But hey, more Fulcrum Shifts, those damage multipliers that all the other classes are concerned about, and it's why they pick Blaster, and it's why they pick Brute. It's because they want you there, because they want your Fulcrum Shifts. You always find somebody to team with, and if you haven't tried it, it's very fun. Nature Affinity is one of the best healing secondary or support power sets in the game. You could do this on a controller. You could do this with any primary that you wanted to thematically, and you'd be great because they're saying, okay, no matter what type of control they're doing, they're also healing, and that control that you do is pseudo healing because it means they're not taking damage. So anything that would have even illusion to a degree, no, not illusion, what was the mind control? Mind control, because you're doing total domination, that full stun, boom, and then the rest of the time you're just helping out your team. That would be great. Pain domination, maybe. Look, if you're going between empathy and pain domination, I would say almost always choose empathy, unless you're a controller or a mastermind and you're like, I want to heal a little bit more, but I also want to debuff the enemies around me because that's almost more important. People build to be able to solo. They build to be fine. I have a Peacebringer that's supposed to be in groups all the time, and I can solo anything plus 4 times 8. Why not? I don't need you there buffing me. I'd rather you be debuffing the enemy and help me get through this quicker. But this kind of has both. Painbringer, enforce morale. Why not? If you really wanted to. But generally speaking, I don't recommend Pain. I think there's so many other good choices. Now, Poison's nice if you wanted to PvP, and there's a few other ones coming up for PvP. If you wanted to do PvP, you could do Poison, and here's what you take. Alkaloid and Venom weaken. Maybe Poison Trap, maybe Paralytic Poison. Don't take Poison Trap if you're doing PvP. Do it if you want to take out AVs solo because it has that high minus regen. If you get Burnout, you could double up on that Poison Trap from the speed pool. Paralytic Poison doesn't deal damage, but it's another hold. But you're a controller anyway, so you shouldn't need a single target hold like that. Let's be honest, you already have one of those. Skip it. Just get these. Now, these look like single target debuffs. They actually are a very small AoE, targeted AoE debuffs. They do affect the mobs around, but they have really good minus regen, minus damage. This is the one that you go. You probably won't ever really use Alkaloid, and you're not a healer at this point, which makes it harder to do PvE content and find groups. Radiation is always good. Now, going back kind of like Kinetics, who should be taking Radiation? Controllers should, right? Defenders, no. If you want to be a defender for whatever reason, there's a better reason to do it. And your debuffs are fine. Your AM is fine. Your heal is fine. Do it on a controller. Always a fantastic choice. Kind of old. I played a lot of these on live, so I don't do them anymore. But it's always good, and you can make them look really cool as well. Sonic Resonance is an interesting choice. Not a lot of people choose Sonic, or if it is going Sonic, it's kind of a toss-up between Sonic and Force Field because they're very similar. But I think Sonic's cool. I like to be a little bit unique. You can get to similar levels of damage dispersion, and you get a little bit more. Well, you get a different form of dealing with enemies. You know what? And as I'm looking at these, I'm like, okay, what clarity, liquefy, I'd rather have force field. I'd rather have something stay on me. Sonic dispersion stays on you. I'd rather have more of that. Storm summoning is interesting, and if you want to be doing the most damage possible, kinetics, because you get the multiplier. But hey, what if you want to do something a little bit different? Go Storm, because you can get Lightning Storm and Tornado and Freezing Rain, all of which you can double up on with Burnout. Snowstorm. Have you ever done a bank mission and gotten hit by Snowstorm from one of the AVs escaping with the money? It's horrible. You can't do anything, and that's what you're doing to your enemies and everybody around you. Don't take Thunderclap. Hurricane, you could enhance that to go from knockback to knockdown with sudden acceleration, and suddenly you're able to stand in the middle of a mob and they can't do anything, and it doesn't take that much endurance, right? Maybe don't take O2 boost, right? Maybe if you want to heal, you don't really have a need for it in most cases, but Gale is going to be could be slotted for knockdown as well. I like Gale for a positional power. There's a similar Warshade ability that lets you knock people back and disorient them, and you use that to kind of push mobs together. You use Gale to push mobs together. You don't use Gale to knock people down. It does hit twice, so maybe if you were doing PvP, you'd want to hit them twice, that boom, boom, and then they have less res to that, but in most cases I would think Hurricane's the better choice to do it there. Thermal radiation is good, and you can do that no matter if you want to be thematic, if you want to heal your team. This is a good one. You get warmth, you get the cauterize, you get the heals. This is one you should pick if you want to be a healer. And you get melt armor and heat exhaustion, two of the strongest debuffs in the game. You're getting rid of the opponent's endurance, and you're going to be reducing their defense and all the ones around them, and their resistance, so you're doing more damage. And then you get to power the Phoenix and these other resurrects. I don't take them anymore. People have enough self-resurrection abilities, or we have a dark and they're res, or somebody else has res. I don't take it anymore. I kind of when I have a 40 thermal radiation defender, and I kind of regretted taking the shields. At one point I was like, what am I doing? I hate clicking these every time. I just don't play them anymore. Time manipulation is one of the strongest secondaries in the game for a lot of classes, but here's the thing with controllers. You don't take advantage of it as much as other classes might. The debuffs are nice, minus recharge, slow, I think regen from time crawl, which you have to take. You get another AoE through times juncture. Okay, but the reason that you take it is for Chrono Shift and Farsight, because you give these two player-based area of effect buffs that are going to give recharge, regen, recovery, whatever it is, and that's why you take it. But you don't have that many pets unless you went like Fire Time, right? So you're not buffing that many unless you're in this big team, and you get these to auto pretty easily. Your hasten gets to auto pretty easily. I think that's better on other classes, don't you? Like a mastermind or a maybe just a defender, because a defender is going to like boost that recharge just that little bit more, really take advantage of it. And I think there's enough time manipulation running around to where, again, you'd be doubling up on it. You don't really need that. Traps would be cool if you wanted to do something a little bit different. You do get the triage beacon for a heal. Not a very good heal. It doesn't actually heal. It just gives plus regen for a while. Everything else there, I just think that this would be super fun to do with gravity. I can't really imagine taking this with anything else, but you could do electricity. There's a lot of cool themes that you can do. And your force field generator is one of your most valuable things. It's actually requested in like Ricky Mothership raids that somebody be a bubbler, and you can be the bubbler without having to sacrifice your entire secondary to that. And oh man, could you imagine doing Mothership with traps, just laying down drones, mines, just everything macroed? So cool. Trick Arrow. So do you want your controller to be a healer, or do you want to just mess with the enemy and reduce and do damage mitigation that way? Trick Arrow is a fine choice. If you want to pick it on something, you might as well pick it on a controller. It does have you can do no redraw, I believe. Let me double check that. I believe that you can do the no redraw, but I don't think that it always forget to pick a power. Yeah, good. Okay, so you can do no redraw now, which means that it's not slowing you down. Your animations are faster. Trick Arrow's in a really good place right now. I think it would be a fine choice to do. Plus, you get all of the cool weapon choices that not really any of the other controllers are going to get access to. Oh, that looks cool. Cupid's bow. Plus all the customation, you're really noticeable. And if you have fun with it, why not? That containment's really useful. All of these, I think these are all going to contribute to your containment as well, because they're all, they're paralytic in some way. No, maybe only immobilizes. Emp Arrow might. That'd be good for PvP. That'd be really fun to do. Maybe illusions, Trick Arrow. Oh man, a lot of disruption there. That would be cool. No healing whatsoever. Alright, so let's start taking a look at the builds that we have lined up today. Starting us off is an illusion radiation build. The totals for this end up being almost nothing. No way. No way. What if he had hover on? What if he had... That's it? Oh, he didn't take... Oh no, where's maneuvers? Rune of Protection. Okay, he does. Rune of Protection. Scorpion Shield. Maneuvers. There it is. Alright, so if he had everything on, he's controller getting about low defense, 29 to 36 resistance throughout. He went for Rune of Protection and the sorcery line, so he's got a little Spear of Ward for mitigation. Looks like he's doing not the most optimal illusion radiation build, but he does have the Dark Watcher's Despair in radiation infection. That's going to help him out. Preventative medicine in radiant aura, definitely, because you're going to get that chance for absorb, which you always are going to want. And does he have the... Yeah, just 2 in stamina, because he's able to AM himself all the time. This looks like a good build. And look at that, he could have even gone deeper into Scorpion Shield, but I think he's doing enough mitigation to where it doesn't even matter. Next build, we have a Plant Storm. Positron's Blast. He's got some Purple Apocalypse and Lightning Storm. He's got Temp Invulnerability with Unbreakable Guard and Resistance Defense +3. He's got a lot of procs and a lot of procs in Tornado. Chance for knockdown from the Overwhelming Force, which is not guaranteed. Let's see, does he have in Hurricane the knockback to knockdown? I don't know if it's actually in Pines. I've tried to look for that one before. He didn't even take Hurricane. Why am I looking for it? Thunderclap, which you can always skip. Snowstorm he skipped. I'm not sure if I agree with that. But he's got a lot of mitigation from the plant controls. Let's look at his totals here. Wow. Look at that defense. 73%. Wow. Resistance 75%. Through what? Temp Invulnerability for resistance. So first off, Unbreakable Guard is amazing. What else is he getting it from? Tough? No. Where's his weave? Excuse me. Steamy Mist? Oh, it's like Steamy Mist because he's getting plus defense to all. What if I... Oh, Power Boost is on. Duh. Okay, that's why. Spirit Tree doesn't do anything. Weave. Okay, so without Power Boost, which increases the secondary effects of all of your abilities, he's still looking at 75% resistance, but that's temporary invulnerability. It's a toggle though. Yeah, no, he's destroying here. That's amazing. Combat jumping, super speed, maneuvers, tough and weave, conserve power. You could do this and be pretty set up. Now, the builds that we're looking at here are from the 3,500 plus pack that you guys can find online, and you can see in the top left corner the title of the build, so I encourage you to look these up if you have. I'm not sure if I can link them. I'll try my best, but this is just to give you guys more kind of a general idea when you go through and start trying to spec these guys out. Strangler's got Decimation, Spirit Tree, okay, of course, yeah. Alright, moving on to the next, and we should probably talk for a moment about the... Well, this guy doesn't have them, but I was going to talk about the ATO. Let's go back for a moment. The ATO enhancements, the Archetype specific ones. For controllers, it is the Superior Will of Combat. It gives you a proc chance for Psionic, as well as increasing your accuracy, recharge, defense. Nice. So this guy put it onto his pet, and it looks like he's not using the... Oh, he's using the proc for the secondary one, for the other one. Recharge time and energy font. Now, you don't have to put full both sets of both. A lot of people don't, or they'll even only just use the proc if they want to go a little bit cheaper. It's up to you. But that's what those abilities do. We were going to look at, I believe this is Fire Kinetics. Now, this is a build that you could do if you wanted to farm, because it has the stone epic power pool and cellular power pool. Now, let's see how he did. Ring of Fire, yes. Char, yes. Fire Cages. Smoke, you don't need because it doesn't do damage. It does mitigation, but you don't need it if you're farming. Flash Fire Cinders. He does probably want Bonfire. Slot it for knockdown instead, because where else are you going to put it? And then Fire Imps. He's got boosts, and more boosts. No inertial reduction, I agree. And he has no repel, I agree, because what do you really need that for if you're running Firekin anyways? For his Fulcrum Shift, he put in 2 recharge IOs and an accuracy. It looks like Fulcrum Shift doesn't take sets, so just get the accuracy and the recharge down as much as you can. Transfusion, he used Doctored Wounds. That's fine. There's other sets that you can use as long as you have preventative medicine somewhere. This is Legacy build. Earth's Embrace, he's got Miracle. Let's see what his totals look like. Now, this is a very popular power choice set. Maybe not everything that he has. I might... Oh, no, so he does have Fissure. Okay, so he went for Fissure over Bonfire. That's okay, as long as he has something. This is a fine build. Adjusted targeting on tactics. That's nice. He's got... Wow, come on. Let's see how high he can get everything. Maneuvers on... Flash Fire doesn't change anything. Let's say he had tactics on... Let's say he even got Fulcrum shifted. Rock Armor. He has no resistance and no defense. Something's wrong with this build. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not loading correctly. It looks like he should have a lot more, but you know what also? He doesn't have Tough and Weave. And that's probably his worst thing. He might not need Hasten. He has 262% recharge. If he didn't have Hasten, he's on 192% because he has speed boost or siphon speed going all the time. There's probably something here he can swap out. Maybe swap out... Oh, God, you'd want to... You don't. So you don't need Assault because you already got Fulcrum Shift. You might not even need Tactics, honestly. Oh, it's because he had to take Hurdle, Health, and Stamina. Duh. Swap that out. Take out Hurdle, Health, and Stamina. Put in Tough, Weave, and Maneuvers. Which it looks... Or Tough, Weave, and... what's the other one called? Tough... Yeah, Tough and Weave. I was thinking about saying Boxing, but you don't have to say that with it. Alright, here's another Firekin. This one went for Fire Mastery. Now, this is nice because, again, like with the last one, you wouldn't have to do the Patron Power Arc. Now, if you did, you'd want to probably be doing Black Scorpion because he's the fastest. Does, again, skip Inertial Reduction, skip Repel, skip Siphon Power once you get Fulcrum Shift. Take it while you're leveling. Skip it once you get up because you don't need it because Fulcrum Shift, if you're hitting full mobs, is fine enough. Looks good. He picked all the good primaries there. Combat Jumping is all you need. Super Speed, Hasten, no Burnout. Probably... Yeah, so he doesn't even need Assault. You might even be able to skip Vengeance. He's probably doing it as a mule, is he? It's a mule for, yeah, Luck of the Gambler. I might put in, there's nothing else he can put in. I guess he needs it. Tough Weave. Yep. Superior Avalanche on Hot Feet. This is a good build. Let's see what his totals are. This would get you through anything. Resistance at 75% because of the... Fire Shield. Wow. Kicking it up. Look at that. 34 to 75 just from that. It looks like Tough. What if you don't have either? Yep, Tough and Fire Shield. Getting you up there. In defense. Oh, sorry, resistance. Gaussian's Fire Control. On Tactics 6 slide, I don't always agree with that, but I guess in this build it's nice. He really just wants to be hitting everything, never missing, never wasting that Fulcrum Shift. And again, here, he only has Fulcrum Shift with 1 recharge reduction, because he probably has enough recharge reduction. What was his total? 113, including Hasten, including Siphon Speed? 133. Yeah, it's not the best. Looking good, though. He's got Fireball. You could do either for farming, Stone or Fire. I think they both work. Alright, Earth Kinetics, something a little bit different. He put the superior overpowering presence in 6th slot in his fossilized, so he has a really strong single target. He put the other 6th slot in stone cages. 6th slot boxing. Why do people 6th slot boxing with superior blistering cold? I always see that, and I don't understand why they do. I guess it's for the defense. 5% defense, 5% defense. I can't tell if it's like a mass joke or if it actually works. I guess it must be something because I've seen it on like a bunch of classes now. Tough, getting some procs in there because where else is he going to be able to put him in? Let's see what his totals look like. Pretty balanced, 43. Siphon speed. Let's see. Ruin protection. There you go. Yeah, no, he's maxed. He didn't even have it. You don't need Mystic Flight. 132% recharge, siphon power. Nah, he's doing well. That's capped. But if you didn't have that ruin protection, you're not going to be capped. So it looks like that might be one of the tricks. If you did have nothing, no Scorpion Shield, he's at 46. Increase that. He's capped even without Scorpion Shield. Oh, but then that's defense. Never mind. Who knows? Res Toxic I was looking at. All right. 2 more. Here's Dark Dark. If you wanted to go for that thematically, getting almost everything. I've skipped Black Hole as well. I also, Fade would be good. Not everybody gets Fade. Soul Absorption. Skipping Shadowy Binds. This would be, let's see, Maneuvers, Hasten, Tough and Weave, Combat Jumping. Did he get anything else? No Acrobatics. Most people don't need Acrobatics, so you can slot away from it. And Dark Watcher's Despair, I recognize that. Basilisk's Gaze. Did he get Lockdown somewhere else? I might throw Lockdown in there instead, but Basilisk's Gaze is okay. Looks like it's going to be giving him a enhancement to recharge time. Yeah, no, I see why he went that. Red Fortune, he's overslotted because he wants the bonuses from that defense here. Heart of Darkness, Absolute Amazement, very expensive set. Soul Absorption, putting just 2 recharge IOs, even though he could put other sets. I think he just wants to get that down as low as he can. Yeah, it's more for the 2 hit. He just wants to be able to do as much as he can. Shadowfall, now you could no, he hit the defense cap, recharge speed, defense, but then you're gonna be sucking on endurance for a while there. What's his endurance drain? 1.63, recovery 4.31. Wow, looks like he's able to get away with just 2 slotting Shadowfall. Again, here Maneuvers trying to cap it, but he way over capped it. He could easily swap that over to a defense endurance. He's still at the cap, but now you're getting some endurance from that as well. There you go. And that's just the type of stuff that you start to learn is the more that you mess around with Pines. And I hope that the more that you guys see me kind of click around here, and these are all things that I would just be thinking as I went through anyway. So I hope it's all coming together, helping you guys out, make more sense. So thank you for hanging out with me. Again, my name has been SP Jimmy, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe and notifications to be alerted, and also send in your costume contest screenshots. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys later.